All right, any given Sunday sports special. It's your boy Jesus. We got my main man Anthony here. Anthony, what's good,
Here,
homie?
we'll talk about it when we get to our game.
All right, let's get right to it. We got a lot of games to get into. We're gonna get into first games first. We'll go with Welcome to Dumpsville defeats the Tampa's Empire 94-69. What you got for me on this one, Ant?
I mean, we discussed it before, and it's still an ongoing problem. The issue with the Empire is that they have a quarterback problem. I mean, between Simeon and Roethlisberger, it's not much going on there. Even when we put in Roethlisberger, you would have lost 89-94, which just isn't enough. We're going to discuss the trade deadline soon. We already discussed it last week about moves that need to be made. I'm not certain what quarterback is going to be possible to get out there because I don't expect Andrew Luck to be back anytime soon this season. You had Fournette out, so that really hurt. You're expecting a little bit more from a job, but getting fired from your quarterback. Evans gets a late touchdown. And like I said, there are some things here that you're just not certain what you're going to do with. I mean, you have Allen Hurns, and I mean, I understand that offense isn't great, and you don't want to start two Jacksonville Jaguars players. But I mean, how much longer can you really go with Terrell Pryor? Everyone expected a lot more from him. Apparently, it's just not happening. You got Brian. Maybe you put Marvin Jones back in the mix, but I mean, you still got to find some way to deal with that quarterback situation. On the other side, you got to give props to Dom. He finally got Jordan Reed to show up, even though he didn't get much from anybody. Again, his quarterback was just better. I mean, 35-5, you're going to win that week. I mean, Amari Cooper had a great game, but he wasn't doing great. But now, he's definitely a real internal option that he can use now for both teams. I think you really have to worry about anyone who's associated, especially in the receiving version for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, you got one from Nelson and he got one from Adams. That's just not a great passing attack right now without him. So you got to give props to Dumpsville. They got themselves a win. Tampa's Empire, they're not out of the running. They're 5-2.
You're
So it's
5
not
and
anything.
2.
Yeah, there's not anything to fall apart about. But it's definitely, if you're going to solidify anything, you want to try to figure out whatever you can do to square away your quarterback situation, because right now that's very troublesome. But you saw it. You was keeping up with the stats and seeing how everything was going. What are your thoughts on the game this week?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, that Welcome to Dumpsville, they've surprised me. I always get on them every chance I get, so I have to also do the right thing and give props every chance I can get. And they're finding ways to win. Their games are ugly, and I mean just hideous, but they win games. I think AJ Green. I mean, maybe AJ Green. This is who AJ Green is. Maybe he's one of those guys that he's going to be good some days and he's going to be really bad other days. There's no consistency there. Fitzgerald, this is where he is at this point. Like you said with Devontae Adams, at this point, you have to be scared with any pass catcher from Green Bay. So there's really nothing there. But overall, the other side, yeah, I'm concerned for the Empire. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have, because yes, Big Ben put up 20 points, but Big Ben he's not consistent either. So what does that leave you? Jay Ajayi hasn't been good. Jordy Nelson's not good with the, as we said, pass catchers from Green Bay. What does this Tampa's Empire have that really scares you? I don't see it. I mean, Evans is good. I like Evans, but they don't scare you, this team. So yeah, I props to Dom. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Evans and Fournette. That's really it right now. Evans and Fournette.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's all that it is right now. So I'm curious to see how the Empire figure this situation out. What are they going to do going forward? I hope they don't stand pat. We'll see. We'll see what Steve decides to do. But and if he stands pat, then it's a piss poor job on his part. We'll see. We'll see exactly how everything goes down. Let's get to the next game here. We're gonna do Dr. Evil loses to McPoon handling Go Engines 110-81.
It was quite simply. It was a tough week, and I think with a lot of things, even in fantasy and almost as in real life, it comes down to a quarterback thing. Marcus Mariota, I get it. I see them like, okay, we're playing Cleveland. It's a good matchup, so on and so forth. You think he'd be a good top 10 play. The issue that you run into is that he's coming off an injury. And I mean, that Titans offense just hasn't been, we expected more from the Tennessee Titans this year. You figure they get Mariota, they get Corey Davis, you have Eric Decker, your line solid, you expect a lot more. The running attack is doing whatever it needs to do, but I don't think Mariota's regressed. I just think that he hasn't had his full allotment of weapons, and there's just something a bit off about that team. On the other hand, you got what you need to get from your guys. Evan Ingram's a great pickup. He's going to get a lot of targets, especially with the way that passing offense is looking. Todd Gurley is an elite back. Very, very great job there. But just like anything else, it's been a very odd fantasy year because guys who expect to show up have not because of no kind of extenuating circumstances. You have T.Y. Hilton, who's absolutely terrific. And you have to give it credit because they're playing against a really tough Jaguars defense. But you expect a little more than 2 points from him. Alshon Jeffrey, it's a high-scoring game. He only gets 3 points. Doug Martin is fine. And like I said, there's some things here. And, I think everyone's going to, if they really want to, they should try to make a move somewhere for someone. I think on McPoon's side, it's just a great job. Derek Carr comes back nice and healthy, gives you a big game at 37. Julio gets a late touchdown. That definitely helps. Cook scores. Aguilar scores. The team is touchdown dependent, but, they get the job done. I think what he has something that's very interesting in is the kid, Aaron Jones from Green Bay.
Yep.
I recently made a deal to get Ty Montgomery because I still think he'll be a big part of that offense. But this is 2 consecutive weeks where he's gone well over what's been projected for him. So you can't really complain about, what he's doing. But you definitely might want to find a way to situation into that offense. But in reality, it was just a good overall game. And just like last game, if one quarterback plays better than the other, these things happen. Derek Carr had a great week. Like I said, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in double figures. On the other side, you only have 4. So you make do whatever you do with it, but once you get that kind of stuff going on, you're good to go. But again, both these guys are talented. I expected a better season from McCoon, but like I said, it's still early, still mathematically in it. But what are your thoughts on today's game?
I think everybody's still in it. But regarding this game, if he plays Cousins, he still loses the game. You take away the 8 points from Mariota, you add in the 29, he still loses the game. So there's really not much of a difference here. He wasn't really probably going to win this game either which way you put it. So he can't beat himself up too bad in that sense. And then on the other side, you just got to give McPoon hand the goal engines credit. Their guys showed up. And what McPoon is doing that I really like is that second flex position, it doesn't belong to any specific player. He's going based off matchups week in and week out, and he's doing a pretty good job figuring that out. You could say Aaron Jones outscored Nelson Aguilar, but Aguilar still put up 10 points, so he still did his job too. Good job to McPoon handlers. They're trying to make that late run. Let's not forget, this team was in the championship last year. And they have a very similar roster to last year. They still have Freeman. They still have Julio. They have Carr still. So, we'll see if they can patch it up together. On the other side, Dr. Evil, we said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. It's the consistency aspect of it. What can they do to get a consistent team? And this upcoming week, they have a lot of bye weeks. They don't have Gurley. They have some situations there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to pull this next week off. Let's get to the next game. We have the Florida Thirst Traps putting up 73 points, losing to the Dream Killers 109. What you got for me on this one, Ant?
It's fun times all around for the Dream Killers. I didn't expect this to turn out the way that it did, but I'm really happy for him because it's a discussion that we always have. When his guys show up, more specifically when it's Russell and Le'Veon, again, those are the bell cows of the team, you win.
Yep.
That's pretty much what happened. He got something from Witten. He hasn't been performing that well all season, and not much from anybody else. But, all in all, a great job on that side. The other side, it wasn't really much that was going to happen. You lost Dan Bailey early, but he wasn't going to be effective since Tucker had 14, and I don't know how well that would have worked out for them. Got a really good game from the Jaguars defense, but everything else, it just wasn't the way it was supposed to be. These are strange matchups. Cam is Cam, but, again, I think when you see it in the situational, you think that's a really good matchup against Chicago, and I believe so. But I think that you might have to do a little bit of rotation between the quarterbacks.
Yep.
And really, at this point, it might really be matchup dependent. And again, you got 3 quarterbacks. You got Stafford, Newton, and you got Rivers. Steve's looking for something. He's looking for a quarterback. Maybe he could work something out with him. Chris Thompson's a good back. He's a receiving back. When he doesn't get a touchdown, he's not as effective. Again, you have Tyreek Hill, but it's a lot of just go great. Howard didn't have a great game. Neither McKinnon. Like I said, I always say about tight ends, if your name's not Gronk, you shouldn't really worry about it. But you get 1 from Bennett, and you get 6 from Sanu. It's something that you do to kind of formulate a good team. But on the opposite side, Jarvis Landry, with Devontae Parker being out, Kenny Stills performing, but he's getting the most share of targets. And again, with Cutler being out, Matt Moore does have a rapport with him, so I think that's a matchup that you're definitely going to go to in the future. But again, it comes down to Wilson and Bell. They perform, you win. They don't, you lose. This week they perform, he won. It's pretty straightforward.
I mean, it's black and white when it comes to Lewis. It's those two guys. If they come up big, then he usually scores. And this is the second week in a row. I believe last week he scored like 99, 98 points. Now he's at 109. Lewis is trending upwards. And this is about the time when Russell Wilson usually turns it up. So if Lewis is going to go on a run, it's right now. Now is his time to get ahead and go on a run. He needs C.J. Anderson to turn it up, though. Because Jarvis Landry, while he's doing great, you have to wonder how much can he keep this going. So, you have some question marks there. But Lewis, this is the time. Because Russell's ready. He's kicking into gear. And now you have Le'Veon Bell, who looks like he was in mid-season form himself. So it's very, very interesting. On the other side, the thirst traps, yeah, they're going to have to figure out that quarterback situation. Secondly, Jerick McKinnon, if I'm anybody in the league right now, you have to look at the matchup. He went against that Baltimore defense. That's really not his style, going up against a defense like that. If I'm someone in the league, and yes, I am one of them currently trying to get McKinnon back, I want McKinnon on my team. I absolutely want him on my team because now you can buy low. Now his value just dropped because you can try to sell it as, well, you know what, first couple of games were a fluke and blah, blah, blah. So if I'm any team right now, I'm trying to go ahead and get my value for him where I could get McKinnon if I can, because Gabe needs a receiver. He needs a receiver in the worst way. So, yeah, I'm one of those people that I will certainly try to go ahead and see what I could do to get McKinnon. All right, next game up, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the Telegram defeats Slap Sauce 135-85. What you got on this one, Ant?
I mean, we always have, it was a really good matchup. More than anything else, I mean, it came for the division lead. I mean, look, as much as I might complain about the NFL and everything that they do, I still think this whole Ezekiel Elliott thing is ridiculous, this whole going back and forth. But this was a week where he was necessary. And we said last week, we worried about, like, he hasn't been himself, he's not in the league back, and this is the week he bangs out 39. I mean, it was a fantastic overall game by him. By that alone, I mean, he would have outscored Drew Brees and Des Bryant. Well, combined, that would have been, 34. And he has 39 by itself. We have those numbers, you're already in a really, really big hole. But you get a very good game from Tyrod Taylor. 21 fantasy points is great. Kareem Hunt, we complained about him last week, but all you need is your guy just to get 8 to 10, and he's getting consistently doing that. Now, he hasn't exploded like he has early in the season, but it's definitely doing a lot of work for that team.
Yep. And
like he's integral to that offense, so you can't really complain there either. Doug Baldwin had an excellent game. Sean McCoy, excellent game. Same thing like I had to set up last year. We have 3 good backs in there all going. No matter what you really get from anything else, you're pretty much going to defeat anyone who comes in front of you. And also, you get an excellent game from Jimmy Graham. I mean, you got 2 Seattle guys who account for 26 points. No, you can't really complain about that. On the opposite side, a lot of things that kind of went wrong with Sean weren't really of his fault. I mean, he has Ertz. Yeah, he's right now. He's probably maybe either the top or maybe the top 2 or 3 fantasy tight ends right now. He's just been performing that well.
He's a beast.
Yeah. I mean, you have Des Bryant. We talked about him before. He comes up, he performs. That's great. The thing that you worry about now is that maybe, like anybody else, you might need to make some moves because you have Adrian Peterson. I mean, you get excited about that first game. But now you have Adrian Peterson with a team where you have Carson Palmer who's hurt. Now, I don't know who their backup is, but he ain't Carson Palmer. And Carson Palmer wasn't that great to begin with.
Yep.
Run this guy there. Now we're saying, like, okay. Yeah, we're saying like we're going to stack the box against you. We're going to see what you're going to do because we don't think whoever's
it's back to Minnesota again. It's basically when he was in Minnesota. It's the same thing now.
Right. But I think that Minnesota team had a better line, and he was a lot younger.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do some things. So I mean, there's going to be some matches that's going to work in his favor. The Marshawn Lynch thing was just a kind of a weird occurrence, and then all of a sudden, he gets 0 from him last week. He's going to get 0 from him this week because, well, he's not going to play. I mean, you might toss in Forte or something else like that. I think the big thing is that, I mean, again, it comes down to matchups and everything to that degree. Drew Brees did okay. You expect a little bit more, but again, you'll probably plug in Watson next week. But then do you do that because you're facing against that Seattle defense, and this is first really
No,
big
there's
test?
no way you could do that. You got to play Breeze against the Bears, which we'll get into in a minute.
Yeah, you got to. But all in all, Telegram. This is what happens. They put a team together. Everything kind of works on its favor. And like I said, when you have those type of running backs that you can kind of plug in and know they're going to go out there and do the job, you can't really complain about any effort that kind of team puts forward.
Yep.
And when you put up 135 points, no matter what the other team does, they're going to have a really excellent effort to offset that. And it just wasn't there. So trust me, all props to Telegram.
Yep, I mean, I'm going to get and go, and I'll be pretty short on this one. On one side, you got Slapsos, who, when you get 0 from your number 1 running back, you get 0 from your number 2. I mean, you get 3 from your number 2 running back. It's going to be hard to win games. You know, he put up 85 points, which was a heck of a fight. You know, Curse, wow, the number looks pretty good. Wow, he had a really good 8 points. But it came off one play, and that was, I believe, in the first quarter. It was a 29-yard touchdown pass that he got. Other than that, he did nothing else. He did nothing else whatsoever. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned on that end of it. On the other side with Pops, while it was a really good game, I don't think you're going to see this every single ball. Baldwin, you technically could get this. Like I said, this is about the time of the year where Seattle starts to pick it up. So I think Baldwin can do that. I don't think McCoy, this isn't going to be the McCoy you see every single week. This isn't going to be the Zeke Elliott, 39 points. You're not going to get that every single week from him. Tyrod Taylor, you're not going to get 21 every single day. But I do like Tyrod. The problem is he has nobody to throw the ball to. So he's going to have to get you a lot of yards on the ground, which means he's a high risk for injury. Props to Pops. He still pulled it off, 135 points. You know, you didn't touch my 151, but you know, you were close. You were close, Pops. We'll let you slide on that one. Now let's go ahead. Let's get to the closest game. The game that actually ended up in a tie. It came down to actually Monday night tiebreaker points. Anthony and the Powers ended up at 68, tied with the tiebreaker going to the Powers, thanks to Carson Wentz and his 38 fantasy points. What you got on this, Sam?
Everything went bad, and I almost won. Here's the thing. I enjoy fantasy football, and I take it seriously. I mean, and I like it more than anything else. I like the camaraderie. I like the guys. And I mean, if people want to bust my chops about it, it's okay. You know, you put it, like I say, you take a thing, you put a team out there to perform, you kind of see what happens. But in reality, I mean, Alex Smith was a good choice. Great. Everything worked out there.
Absolutely.
31 points, he outscored Tom Brady.
Yep.
I'm excited. Let's see how things go. I'm thinking like Atlanta, maybe we can get, Gillislee going. Nope, didn't happen. Keenan Allen, good matchup again. I mean, Denver's tough, but I mean, they're not world breakers. And the enemy's the guy who plays in the slot. Nope, nothing happens there. Eric Decker, guys on the bye, couldn't do really nothing about that, gets 0. Rudolph 4, Crowell is my second highest scoring player with 6, and he sucks. I had to start Watkins because, everyone else is either hurt or on the bye. Other side, Brady, 21. You expect way more than that, but all right, cool. I can live with that. Mark Ingram, 16 points. Great deal. He's getting the ball. He's getting the job done. Antonio Brown doesn't do much, but he scores. Get you 12. Cool. Nothing from Demaryius Thomas. And we talked about it during the game. You almost had this visceral hate for him. Like, I can't stand this guy. It's hard. It can't be that hard. But, like I said, you got Trevor Siemian, but Tampa's Empire scoring 5, so it's not that far out of the round. Gronk doesn't have a great game. Melvin Gordon plays the whole game. Doesn't have a great game. Christian McCaffrey, another one. Nothing there. Dolphins, no. Bryant, no. Bryant was terrible because if he gets you just that one field goal, this is over.
Done.
It's over. he bangs it right off the upright. And I'm like, it's 68-68. I'm looking at your bench. 0, 6, 4, 4, 7, nothing. Like, okay, we got this in the bag. This should be fine. I got Howard on the bench, 21. Winston on the bench, 29. Great. Should be okay. Then Monday night happens. Then Carson Palmer just pretty much goes insane. He doesn't even get over 200 yards. He doesn't get to 300 yards. But he gets 4 touchdowns. And he got some rushing going on in there. Great. I'm thinking it's enough. He gets one last touchdown. He gives you 59. And I'm at 54. If he doesn't get the last touchdown, I win.
Yes, sir.
But because he gets 38, it's over. Now, I still have. It was a terrible week, but I have to give props to your team. You have those 3 guys. Even with Gronk and even with Melvin Gordon come out, you set up your team for success because you have guys there that can be successful, that can be good, that are performers. Like I said, Antonio Brown's the best fantasy wideout. Tom's in the top 5 of fantasy quarterbacks. Mark Ingram is really showing up. It was just a great job. Like I said, I had to make some moves. I had to say goodbye to Sammy Watkins and hope and pray that Ty Montgomery comes back healthy, regains the job, and does a little bit more. Maybe that helps out Brett Hundley a bit. But there were some things that need to be made. Like I said, the trade deadline's at 10 tomorrow, so maybe there's some more things that can be done. But I have to give props to the Powers. They were a little bit nervous, but more than anything else, you guys did a good job. Your guys showed up enough to get the job done, even the guys in your bench. So, again, I have to tip my hat to you.
So I was more than a little bit nervous, and let me be clear. I'm watching this game and I'm freaking out because first of all, Brady. I watched every single game. Brady needed 1 yard. He was at 249. You get 1 point for every 25 yards. So if he gets to 250, there's my point. Game over. We're done. He doesn't get it. Demaryius Thomas needed 1 yard. He actually was at 12 receiving yards. So he had the point. Then they threw him a backwards pass where he lost 3 yards. So then he dropped back to 0 points. Freaking out there. Then you have Matt Bryant, who can't make a field goal for the life of him. And I'm like, what is going on? And lastly, Melvin Gordon had 4 chances at the half-yard line to punch it in against the Denver Broncos and couldn't do it. I felt that this game was just not meant for me to win. I truly did feel that way. I went into Monday night hoping, and I purposely did not contact Anthony, hoping that he did not pick up the kicker from Washington. I didn't want to give him any hints. I didn't want to give him any advice. I said, if this guy drops Amir Abdullah and picks up the kicker, I'm done. There's no shot I have on this. Just so happened, thank goodness he did not do that. I ended up pulling off the victory. Now to just going over a couple things here. Demaryius Thomas, there's something not right there. He's not happy in Denver. I watched that game. He's just not happy. He's not blocking. He's not running full routes. There was one interception that Simeon threw that he basically ran a wrong route, and he didn't even try to tackle the corner after the interception. He just started walking. On the other side, McPoon. I'll name this team later. Yeah, it's because you got so many names. I don't know what to go with. You got Decker with 0 points. He actually had a 20-something yard catch towards the end of his game, and they got called back on a penalty. So that was huge. I told you about Crowell. I keep telling you about Crowell. You gotta move on. Kansas City defense did absolutely nothing for you. So yeah, man. I mean, overall, you can't beat yourself up too badly on this game. Yeah, of course. Would we love to say, yeah, well, you should have played O.J. Howard. Yeah, we could say that, but realistically speaking, nobody saw that kind of game from him.
Yeah, no one's going to do that.
Nobody saw that.
No one's doing that. Come on.
So it was just one of those. It's nice to see me win one of these kind of games because I usually never win these type of games. So it felt good to finally pull one of these off. But we have a long way to go. After dropping 151 last week to go to 68 this week, we gotta bounce back off of that. So let's go ahead. Let's get to this upcoming week's games. We got some really, really good ones. We're going to start off here with, I'll name this team later, versus Florida Thirst Traps. What you got on this one, Ant?
You know what? I'm going to pick me because I'm being slick. I do think that the Thirst Traps will probably have better options. I don't think Tyreek Hill against that Denver defense is going to be as dynamic as he once was. Carlos Hyde against Philadelphia is a tough matchup. Cam Newton should come back against Philadelphia because against Tampa, because Tampa's defense is terrible. But right now you're rolling out Sanu. You're going to figure out whatever you're going to do at tight end. Jordan Howard against New Orleans. The New Orleans defense has been slightly better, and then you have the early morning game with Jerick McKinnon. And now I think you're going to move some things around more than anything else. Yeah, I definitely see that happen. Now, on my side, I don't know what Devontae Parker's going to do. Hopefully he's healthy. If not, we're going to have to do something else about that. Again, it's Winston versus Cam. I think that's what it's really going to come down to. I think Keenan Allen against that New England secondary is going to have a good matchup. And I think DeAndre Hopkins, even though they're playing Seattle, he's not going to line up on the side of Richard Sherman. He's probably going to be opposite of him. And historically, he's had good games against him. So right now, me being selfish and concerning the week I had last week, I'm going to pick myself. No disrespect to Gabe, but I just want something to kind of break right my way. So this week, I'll name this team later.
Yeah, I want to pick you in this game, but I just don't see how I can pick you in this game. Carolina defense has been surprisingly good this year. I like Amir Abdullah against Pittsburgh. I actually do think that's not a bad matchup. I like Keenan Allen against New England. I actually really like that one. I don't like Hopkins against Seattle. Kyle Rudolph, like you said, unless your name is Gronk, it really doesn't matter who you play at tight end. I can't stand Gillisley. I don't know why. At what point in time you're going to move on from him? But you just, you're stuck there, I guess, for some reason. On the other side, I just like the matchups over here better. I love Cam Newton against Tampa Bay. Even if he doesn't play Cam, I'm a big fan of Rivers against New England. I'm not a fan, actually, of Stafford against Pittsburgh, so I don't like that matchup. Hyde, maybe he benches him this week. I know it's hard because it's Carlos Hyde, and he gets you at least usually 6 to 10 points every week. So I know that's going to be hard, but, you may consider it. I love Howard against New Orleans, McKinnon against Cleveland. I just don't like Tyreek Hill against Denver, but you just have to play him and just hope he breaks one. If he breaks one, you're good. You can move on, and be happy, but it's going to be tough. So, yeah, I'm actually going to go with Florida Thirst Traps on this. I don't feel confident about it, but it's just I have to go based off of matchups there, and I don't like Gillisley. I'm okay with Devontae Parker, believe it or not. I don't like Gillisley. I think that's a horrible, horrible play because Dion Lewis is clearly the preferred back there, in my opinion.
But with New England, it changed in the blink of an eye.
It can, but it could be Burkhead too. It could be James White. So there's just too many options there. You have a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right. I don't like that. I don't like those numbers. I'm not. That's bad odds in my book. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Let's get to the next one. We got Dumpsville. Welcome to Dumpsville versus McPoon handling Go Engines. What you got here, Ant?
What you worry about with Dumpsville? Right now they're winning. But if you're looking at their team, you got trouble. You have both Murray and Terry on the bye, Fitzgerald on the bye, Ivory out. Ivory's not going to be important. You got to do something about your kicker. So let's just take a look at the team. Okay. Slide out Fitzgerald, you put in Cooper. And the thing that Buffalo's defense isn't a slouch. Now, I watched the game, and Cooper did score and everything else like that, but he did still have the dropsies. There were some passes that went through his hands again and again and again. I don't know if he's over that problem or not. You got 2 flex spots. I don't know if you really trust Tariq Cohen against New Orleans. You got Devin Funchess. You got Foreman. There's not really much there. You got to. Unless you make some other moves, you're going to put 2 of those guys in. Are you really going to go with 2 tight ends with Reed and Jenkins? It's kind of tough. It might be your only option at this point. On the opposite side, you're losing Walker. Okay. So more likely you have to go out there and find yourself a tight end. But again, I always feel like if your name's not Gronk, it's kind of either up or down. I think you know what? I'm going to take Dom for this reason. I think Dak Prescott, seeing what Washington's defense did and them being down Norman and a couple other guys, I think Prescott can have the same week he did last week. I think AJ and Mixon against that Indianapolis defense, it's terrible. They can definitely do some damage. Jordan Reed finally showed up. And I think those matchups are important. I think Derek Carr, he did have a great game, but the Buffalo defense is better than what you think it is. The Jets defense, oddly enough, they've been in games more than anything else. I do think Julio goes crazy, but that's just a matchup thing. I think Will Fuller is going to be the one that Sherman's going to be on. So I think you kind of eliminate him from that. I do think you probably get something from the Vikings playing against Cleveland, but again, it's an overseas game. It's 9:30 in the morning. You never know what in the world's going to happen.
That's right.
But for me, I think Dom's run of luck has been going that way, and I'm going to go with Dumpsville. Like I said, I think you're going to go the other way, but I like Dumpsville.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way definitely because I'm just looking at it is I like Mixon and AJ going up against Indy, but the problem is one takes away points from the other. I like Dak Prescott against Washington. That's not a bad matchup. But I just look at the other side. Yeah, you got those. You got that 3. But then let's look at the 4 on the other side. Carr against Buffalo. Buffalo's a pretty decent defense, but I still think Carr could get you, a decent amount of points. But you got Freeman against the Jets, Julio against the Jets, Mike Thomas against Chicago. You got Brandon Cooks against the Chargers, which the Chargers defense hasn't been deplorable, but it hasn't, it's a middle of the road type of thing. So I'm gonna go with McPoon. I think McPoon is gonna be a really good game also. McPoon knows they really don't have much room for error. They can't lose many more games, being 2 back out of the wild card spot, so it's going to be really, really fun. But give me McPoon in this game. I think they're going to get ahead and they're going to pull this one off. All right, let's go to the next game. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go with... No, I'm going to save that game for the game of the week. We're going to go with Telegram versus the Dream Killers. What you got in this one, Ant?
You know what? Give me Telegram. Like I said, it's the whole thing about having those backs. Oakland's defense is not... It's just not there. I think McCoy has a great game. Elliott, I think, won't be suspended, so I think he's definitely going to play. Washington... they can perform better on ball offense, but defensively, it's just not there. And I know, like I said, Kareem Hunt against Denver, so on and so forth. But like I said, their secondary is the tough part of their team. But those linebackers can be had, and if he can do his job, it'll be fine. I think Tyrod has a good game. I think Doug Baldwin's back. That Houston defense is improving, but like I said, the loss of J.J. Watt. I think they also lost Whitney Mercilus, so the pass rushing isn't what it was last year. I think they're going to get Jimmy Graham involved. I think that's a really good matchup on that side. And again, on the other side, it comes down to, like I said, those two guys. They have Russell Wilson and Le'Veon Bell. Detroit has a good pass defense, but not a great run defense, so we're going to kind of see how that goes. And you still have Russell Wilson. Okay, we already discussed it. He said, it's going to be coming later in the season. It's the point where he starts performing, which I think he will. I don't trust C.J. Anderson. If you're going to go out there with Kenny Golladay, I don't trust him either. I do like Jarvis Landry, but I don't think it's a good matchup against Baltimore on a Thursday night, and you're bringing in a new quarterback. I just don't think that works well for him. Maybe there's some other changes that they're going to make or other moves that they're going to make. But for me this week, I'm going to roll with Telegram. I think they're going to carry this little win streak and bring it up to 3.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Dream Killers in this one. I think the Dream Killers pull this, man. We picking opposite on almost everything so far. I think the Dream Killers are going to pull it off. I think Russell Wilson outperforms Taylor. I think Le'Veon Bell is going to outperform Kareem Hunt. I think Jarvis Landry is going to outperform Doug Baldwin. Deshaun Jackson outperforms Adam Thielen. Jason Witten and Jimmy Graham, I'll give that to Jimmy. Zeke is going to do what Zeke does, but I don't like McCoy. Granted, I don't like Kenny Galladay either, but from everything that I'm hearing is Lewis is working hard to get a better flex, and he is working those phones extremely hard. So we'll see if he's able to pull it off. But yeah, I'm going to go with Lewis. I just think Lewis's team, as of right now, for this week, is better equipped. Again, Pops has that big 3 at running back, but you got Hunt going against Denver, and I'm just not a fan of that. Kareem Hunt, first of all, he hasn't scored a touchdown since, week 2? I believe it is, or something to that effect. So I'm going to go with the upset. Give me Lewis in this one. Lewis, don't let me down. I believe in you, and I still think that you have one more trade up your sleeve. So we shall see. All right, next up, we're going to go with the New York Powers going against Slap Sauce. What you got in this, Ant?
I'm going with the Powers because I don't think they're going to have the week they had last week. I don't see that happening at all. I think there's some good matchups. I think them playing the LA Chargers. I mean, most of the games are early, so you got to score and you got to score early. But Melvin Gordon's a good matchup. Like I said, that New England defense. I know they just played Atlanta, but Atlanta's offense has not been what you're expecting it to. And I think that he's going to step it up compared to what happened last week. I think Gronk's going to show up. I think Benjamin against Tampa Bay, like I said, that's not a good defense. So I think they're there to be had. I mean, you don't worry about Antonio Brown because he is who he is. Mark Gringer's been performing great the past couple of weeks. We're going to see what you're going to do about Christian McCaffrey because, like I said, it's a lot of guys and a lot of duplicates, and they're all playing early. So maybe some things change, maybe they don't. On the opposite side, I mean, as of right now, he's going with Breeze versus Chicago. I think that's a good matchup. I do. You have to figure out something to do with your running back spot because will not be there. Dez Bryant is a good matchup. I don't know about Kelsey against Denver was probably good, but I think a lot of the matches just favor you and they work in your favor. So I'm definitely going to go with the Powers this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with myself as well. I think we're just a better team. I mean, even minus the matchups, you look at it, no Lynch, no Peterson, which means he's going to play Forte. He's probably going to play Gore. I'm sorry. He's going to play Gore, and he's going to have to fill up the other flex spot, which is probably going to be Sanders if he wants to take a risk that he's going to be available Monday night. But realistically speaking, he probably goes Matt Forte or Tyrell Williams. On the other side, you got Brady against the Chargers, Ingram against Chicago, Brown against Detroit, Benjamin against Tampa. Gronk is probably going to score this week. You got Gordon against New England. I just think overall it's just better matchups. I don't think Matt Bryant's going to have the kind of week that he had last week. I think, since he's played for you the last 2 seasons, I think Matt Bryant was trying to give you the game. So I don't think he's going to do that this week. I think he'll return back to form. We shall see. We'll see how that one goes. Lastly, let's go with the game of the week. My favorite every time they play each other. Dennis Graham versus Steve Koisku, Dr. Evil versus Tampa's Empire. What you got here, Anthony?
I just love the matchup because these guys really hate each other. That's the best part. They really do, and it's always exciting and it's always a good game. And I think for this week, I'm going to go with Dr. Evil. I think they're going to figure out the tight end thing. They're going to figure out the defense. Doug Martin's a good matchup. I think Crabtree opposite Cooper. He's been a better fantasy player for them. I think Rob Kelly is going to be healthy this week. Dallas defense is not great. Kirk Cousins can put up points. Cincinnati's defense, again, kind of trash. You got T.Y. Hilton back there. I know we just bagged on him, and I know, but that Cincinnati defense is not like the defense they just faced. I think he'll definitely come back to life this week. You got Roethlisberger. We're going to hope the best there. You got Jay Ajayi on the Thursday night game. The thing that you worry about there, again, Thursday game, you got a new quarterback. You want to see how that goes. Marvin Jones against Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh defense is actually pretty good, and he's going to roll out Martavis Bryant. I guess maybe he feels with all the complaining, he's going to, show up this week. But I think that's a tough matchup more than anything else. I think Mike Evans is the good matchup, but I just don't trust their quarterback. I don't trust Ben. He's not going to go with Simeon. And the way that his team is set up right now, I mean, he's putting a lot. Like I said, if you have Evans and you have Brate, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to start the Panthers defense. So if the Panthers defense does great, that means it's shutting down those two guys.
Yep.
So something's got to give. So that's kind of a strange matchup all into itself. But I think these guys always go back and forth and everything else like that. And I think after what occurred last week, I think this is just going to be Dr. Evil's week. So let me go with the doctor.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dr. Evil here. And I'll be honest with you, this is odd, right? Because we went into the season and we were all saying about how good Steve's team is, and how they're going to just dominate. They're going to dominate this year, and how great their roster was. But if you really break it down, if we're getting the nuts and bolts of it, Steve's team this season is averaging 83 points per game. 83. Dennis's team is averaging 96. 96, and if I round it up because it's 96.85, it's actually it's 97 then, if you really round it up. So I just think that Dennis's team has been way more impressive. Yes, Steve's getting the wins, but Dennis's team to me has been way more impressive. I'm gonna go with Dennis just because I think overall I think Kirk Cousins against Dallas. You guys know I don't like Dallas's defense. I'm not a fan of Robert Kelly starting this week, but it's kind of where else is he really gonna go, right? I mean, he could go Hogan, which maybe he does ultimately, and moves Martin to the running back position. Ty I think will bounce back this week. Jeffrey at some point has to turn it around. Crabtree I like. On the other side, Big Ben's on the road. And we know what happens when Ben is on the road. He's not the same quarterback. Ajayi going against a tough Baltimore defense. I think Evans will show up. Who knows what's going to happen with Marvin Jones. Martavis Bryant doesn't even want to be in Pittsburgh right now. So you just look at it overall. Steve's team right now is kind of a mess. As much love as I got for the dude, its team is a mess. I think Dennis is going to win this game, and I think it's going to get very interesting out west. I think things are getting very, very interesting out west because if, say, for example, Gabe wins this week, and Dr. Evil wins this week, and Empire lose, and somehow Rich finds a way to win, I believe everybody will be within 1 to 2 games out of the division lead there in that division, which gets very, very interesting because we all thought going in that Steve was going to run away with it, with how good his roster was, but not anymore. That's not the case anymore. So I'm very curious to see how that goes down. But give me Dr. Evil. Real quick, Anthony, before we wrap up the show, explain to the league about our trade. I sent you Ty Montgomery. You sent me back with Sammy Watkins. Take about 60 seconds.
Not a problem. I'll make it 30. I think more than anything else, when you see the two guys, they've had difficult matchups during the season. I needed a running back, and you needed some help just at a wide receiver. I think it was a good deal on both sides because it was something that felt a necessity. Even though they haven't been performing up to their potential, they both have the ability to do so, especially with Ty Montgomery. I think, with that situation, they're going to get the running backs more involved. The passing attack might not be there, and I get it. And I think Sammy Watkins The ability's there. They just have to give him the time and the targets, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense saying that now. But I think that they're going to. So I think that it kind of the deal that worked out for both teams, and yeah, it was something that kind of came up. I saw it. It had to be made. Yeah, so I can't. I don't want to have a problem with it. I don't. There's not going to be complaint on my end.
Yeah,
I think it was a deal that kind of worked out for both teams.
yeah. I mean, you were quick to accept it. I literally sent that to you within 2 minutes. That was accepted. I didn't even get a chance to text you that, hey, listen, I sent you an offer. I mean, you accepted that so fast. On my end here, look, it's pretty simple, guys. I didn't know where Ty Montgomery stood with that team. Plus, on top of that, I felt that my running back position is pretty strong overall. You know, I got Ingram, I got Gordon. I don't know what's going to happen with McCaffrey, but either which way, I still have Jonathan Stewart on the back end. Plus, I've never been the type to carry too many running backs on my team anyways. But I'm looking, the main reason why I did this is because I look at Sammy Watkins' schedule. Everybody's like, oh, but he's been so horrible this year. Well, you're right, he has. But if you look at the last 3 weeks, he's played Seattle, Jacksonville, and Arizona. That's a brutal schedule. I'm thinking big picture. I'm thinking that my team is capable of making it to the playoffs. And if they just so happen to make it to the playoffs, Watkins plays Philadelphia. I love that matchup. Plays Seattle. That's a tough one. He plays Tennessee. I love that matchup. And week 17, he plays San Francisco. I'm thinking big picture. I'm not just thinking short term. Short term, sure, okay, fine. Yeah, I could go ahead and stay with Montgomery and hope it all turns around. But no, I have to think the bigger picture. And to me, that bigger picture is Sammy Watkins has the potential to be really big for me. So I went with Sammy Watkins. Whether it blows up in my face or not, we shall see. But I feel pretty good about it. I know you feel good about it as well. I'm hoping there's more trades. Reminder, guys, the trade deadline is tomorrow, so get your moves in. There's a lot of you teams I'm seeing that need moves. Anthony, I know you're probably not done, so let's go ahead and you guys all make sure you get your rosters done. Everybody stay safe. Be safe.
Yeah.
We out.
Be out.
Peace.